Monica Walsh stared at her parents across the kitchen table, convinced she had misheard them. The morning sunlight streamed through the windows of the Victorian home in Burlington, Vermont. The home she had saved from foreclosure with years of her own hard work and $80,000 from her personal savings. "I'm sorry, what did you just say?" Monica's voice wavered as she set down her coffee mug, the liquid inside rippling from her trembling hands. Her father, Richard, cleared his throat and avoided her gaze. "We need you to move out by Sunday evening. Tara is moving back from California next week, and she'll be taking your room." 48 hours? You're giving me 48 hours to pack up my life? Monica's eyes darted between her parents, searching for any sign that this was some cruel joke. Her mother, Eleanor, sat rigid in her chair, her thin lips pressed into a firm line. The house belongs to Tara now. The paperwork was finalized yesterday. The world seemed to tilt beneath Monica. At 30, she had built a successful career as a software engineer, but had chosen to remain in her childhood home to help her struggling parents. For 4 years, she had poured her savings into mortgage payments, property taxes, and essential repairs when the roof leaked and the heating system failed. The house belongs to Tara? My sister who hasn't set foot in Vermont in 8 years? Who hasn't contributed a single dollar to saving this place? Monica's voice rose with each question. Richard's face flushed red. "Your sister has been going through a difficult time in California. This fresh start is what she needs. And what about what I need? What about the $80,000 I've invested in this house? What about the fact that I gave up my own apartment to move back here and help you?" Eleanor's expression hardened. "That was your choice, Monica. We never asked you to do that." Monica felt as though she'd been slapped. The kitchen she had remodeled last summer suddenly felt foreign and hostile. The granite countertops she had selected, the modern appliances she had purchased, all of it would now belong to her absent sister. "This isn't right," Monica whispered, more to herself than to her parents. "It's decided," her father said with finality. "We expect you to be out by Sunday evening." Monica stood up so quickly her chair toppled backward, clattering against the tile floor. Without another word, she grabbed her keys and phone and walked out the front door, leaving it open behind her. The crisp autumn air hit her face, carrying the scent of fallen leaves and imminent rain, a stark contrast to the suffocating atmosphere inside. She slid into her car, a sensible sedan she had purchased 3 years ago after her promotion. Her hands gripped the steering wheel as tears blurred her vision. She didn't start the engine immediately, instead taking deep breaths to calm the storm brewing inside her chest. When her phone rang, Monica glanced at the screen. Kristen Harding, her closest friend since college and, more importantly at this moment, a practicing attorney. Monica answered immediately. "Hey, we still on for lunch?" Kristen's cheerful voice asked. "Kristen," Monica's voice broke, "I need your help. Can we meet now?" The Maple Tree Cafe hummed with the quiet energy of late-morning patrons. Monica sat across from Kristen in a corner booth, her untouched cup of tea growing cold. "Let me get this straight," Kristen said, her professional demeanor taking over as she processed Monica's story. "Your parents just announced that they've transferred ownership of the house to your sister, and you have 48 hours to vacate?" Monica nodded, her eyes red-rimmed. "Tara hasn't even visited in years. She's been in California pursuing her acting career, which consists mostly of being an extra in commercials and waiting tables between auditions." Kristen frowned, tapping her manicured nails against the wooden table. "And you've been paying the mortgage, taxes, and for repairs?" "Yes. When I moved back, they were 3 months behind on payments. The bank was threatening foreclosure. I used almost all my savings to catch up on payments and keep the house." "Do you have documentation? Bank statements, receipts, anything showing your financial contributions?" Monica nodded. "Everything. I've kept meticulous records." "Good," Kristen said, opening her laptop. "Now, tell me about the ownership structure. Whose name is on the deed?" "My parents, I think. The house has been in the family for generations. My grandfather left it to them when he passed away 15 years ago." Kristen typed a few notes. "And there was no formal agreement about your financial contributions? No contract stating you would receive equity or ownership interest?" Monica's shoulders slumped. "No, they're my parents. I trusted them." Kristen reached across the table and squeezed Monica's hand. I know, but let's look at all possibilities here. I can check the property records at the Chittenden County Clerk's office. There might be something there that could help. What could possibly help? They've already given the house to Tara. I'm not sure yet, but property transfers, especially between family members, can be complicated. And if your grandfather left the house to your parents 15 years ago, there should be a record of his will and how the property was transferred. A flicker of hope ignited in Monica's chest. How soon can you check? I can go this afternoon. Why don't you come with me? In the meantime, start gathering all your financial records related to the house. If nothing else, we might be able to make a case for reimbursement of your contributions. As they left the cafe, the autumn wind swirled fallen leaves around their feet. Monica felt the first stirrings of resolve replacing her initial shock and grief. Whatever happened next, she would face it with clarity and purpose. At the county clerk's office, Monica watched as Kristen navigated the system with practiced ease, requesting records related to the Walsh property. The clerk, an older woman with glasses perched on the end of her nose, returned with a thick folder. "Here's everything we have on that property," she said, placing it on the counter. Kristen thanked her and led Monica to a small table in the corner of the room. They began sifting through documents, most of them routine property tax assessments and deed registrations. "Wait," Kristen said suddenly, pulling out a yellowed document near the bottom of the stack. "This is your grandfather's will." Monica leaned closer, her heart racing as Kristen carefully unfolded the paper. Her eyes scanned the formal legal language until Kristen's finger stopped at a particular paragraph. "Monica, look at this," Kristen whispered urgently. Monica read the indicated section, then read it again, her hands beginning to tremble. "To my granddaughter, Monica Elizabeth Walsh, I leave my home at 1622 Maple Avenue, Burlington, Vermont, in recognition of her kind heart and responsible nature," she read aloud, her voice barely audible. Kristen looked up at Monica, her expression a mixture of shock and determination. "Your grandfather left the house to you, Monica, not to your parents. To you." The drive back to the house was a blur of emotions. Monica's mind raced through 15 years of memories, reframing each one through the lens of this new, devastating truth. Her parents had known all along that the house legally belonged to her, yet they had encouraged, her to pour her savings into a property they knew was rightfully hers. When she pulled into the driveway, she sat in her car for several minutes, gathering her courage. Kristen had offered to come with her, but Monica had declined. This confrontation needed to happen alone. Inside, she found her parents in the living room, sorting through old photo albums. They looked up when she entered, their expressions guarded. "We were just deciding which photos to display when Tara arrives," Eleanor said, her tone deliberately casual. Monica stood in the doorway, the certified copy of her grandfather's will clutched in her hand. "I just came from the county clerk's office," she said quietly. Her father's eyes flickered to the document in her hand, a flash of recognition and fear crossing his face before he composed himself. "What were you doing there?" Finding out the truth, Monica stepped forward and placed the will on the coffee table between them. "Grandfather left this house to me. Not to you, not to Tara. To me." The silence that followed was deafening. Eleanor's face drained of color. Richard's jaw clenched, a vein pulsing at his temple. "Where did you get that?" Eleanor finally asked, her voice thin. "From the public record, where it's been filed for 15 years. Monica's voice grew stronger. "You knew. All this time you knew the house was legally mine, and you let me spend $80,000 saving it from foreclosure." Richard stood abruptly. "Your grandfather was old and confused when he made that will. He didn't understand family dynamics." "He understood perfectly," Monica countered. "The will is clear and legally binding. Kristen confirmed it." "You involved Kristen in family business?" Eleanor's voice rose with indignation. "Family business?" Monica laughed bitterly. "Is that what you call hiding my inheritance from me for 15 years? Is that what you call transferring my property to Tara without my knowledge or consent?" Richard paced the room, his shoulders tense. "We did what was best for the family. Tara needs stability. And I don't? I've been here, supporting this family, working 60-hour weeks to keep this roof over our heads. Meanwhile, Tara has been living her dream in California, never once offering to help. Your sister has different strengths, Eleanor said defensively. Different strengths? Monica echoed incredulously. What about honesty? What about gratitude? What about basic decency toward the daughter who has sacrificed everything for you? Her father stopped pacing and faced her. What are you going to do? Sue your own parents? Monica looked around the living room, at the couch she had purchased when the old one became unsalvageable, at the smart TV she had bought last Christmas, at the framed family photos where she and Tara smiled side by side, unaware of the unequal love their parents harbored. I don't need to sue anyone, she said calmly. The house is already legally mine. It has been since grandfather died. Any transfer to Tara is invalid without my signature. Eleanor gasped. You wouldn't. Wouldn't what? Claim what's rightfully mine? Protect myself from the people who were supposed to protect me? Monica's voice cracked slightly, but she maintained her composure. You've left me no choice. We're your parents, Richard said, as if that simple fact should erase all wrongs. Yes, you are, which makes this betrayal so much worse. Monica picked up the will and turned to leave. I'll be back tomorrow with a moving truck. Not for my things, for yours. The next morning dawned clear and cold. Monica had spent the night at Kristen's apartment, sleeping fitfully on the pull-out couch. She had oscillated between grief and anger, finally settling into a resigned determination as the first light of day crept through the blinds. Over coffee, Kristen reviewed their plan. The moving company will be there at 10. I've filed the necessary paperwork with the court to recognize your ownership and invalidate any attempted transfer to your sister. A judge signed the emergency order last night. Being an attorney with connections has its perks. Monica nodded, staring into her coffee. I still can't believe they did this. People do strange things when it comes to family and property, Kristen said gently. Have you spoken to Tara? No. I tried calling last night, but she didn't answer. I don't even know if she's aware of what they've done. At 9:45, they arrived at the house. Monica's parents' car was gone, the driveway empty. Using her key, Monica entered the silent home. It felt different now, not like the sanctuary it had once been, but like a monument to betrayal. She walked through each room methodically, making notes of what belonged to her. The refrigerator she had purchased when the old one died. The washing machine and dryer she had installed last year. The dining room set she had found at an estate sale and refinished herself. When the moving company arrived, Monica directed them with quiet efficiency. These items are mine. I have receipts for all of them. They need to be placed in storage until I find a new place. By mid-afternoon, the house looked half empty. The movers had loaded furniture, appliances, and personal belongings that Monica could prove she had purchased. What remained was a shell of a home, functional, but stripped of comfort and warmth. As the last box was loaded onto the truck, a sleek rental car pulled into the driveway. A tall, slender woman with honey blonde hair stepped out, designer sunglasses perched on her nose despite the overcast day. Tara Walsh had arrived from California, 2 days early. Monica! Tara called, confusion evident in her voice as she took in the moving truck. What's going on? Monica turned to face her sister, seeing not an adversary, but another potential victim of their parents' manipulations. Tara, we need to talk. Inside the half-empty house, Monica showed Tara the will and explained everything. The inheritance, the deception, the years of financial sacrifice under false pretenses. Tara sank onto the bare couch, her face pale. I had no idea, she whispered. Mom and Dad told me they were helping me get a fresh start. They said you were fine with it, that you were planning to move in with Kristen anyway. They told you I was fine with giving up my home, the home I've spent years saving from foreclosure? Tara's eyes filled with tears. They said you had outgrown it, that you wanted to move on. I would never have agreed if I'd known the truth. Monica believed her. Despite their differences, Tara had never been deliberately cruel. Misguided, perhaps. Self-centered, definitely, but not malicious. What happens now? Tara asked, looking around at the half-empty rooms. Now I enforce grandfather's will, Monica said firmly. The house is legally mine, and has been for 15 years. I'm selling it. Selling it? Tara's eyes widened. But where will Mom and Dad live? That's not my concern anymore, Monica said, surprised at how easily the words came. They made their choice when they decided to betray me. They can find an apartment, just like I'll have to do. And me? I gave up my apartment in LA. I shipped all my things here. Monica considered her sister thoughtfully. That's between you and them. They created this situation, not me. As if on cue, their parents' car pulled into the driveway. Monica watched through the window as they emerged, stopping short at the sight of the moving truck being closed up. They're here, she said to Tara. It's time for everyone to face the consequences of their actions. Richard and Eleanor entered their increasingly empty home with expressions of outrage that quickly turned to shock when they saw Tara sitting beside Monica in the living room. "Tara, you're early," Eleanor exclaimed, her voice unnaturally high. "We weren't expecting you until Monday." "I caught an earlier flight," Tara said flatly, her usual bubbly demeanor notably absent. "Monica's been filling me in on some interesting family history." Richard's face darkened as he surveyed the room, noting the missing furniture and electronics. "What have you done?" he demanded of Monica. "I've removed my property," Monica replied calmly. "Everything I purchased with my own money is now in storage until I find a new place to live." "You can't just take half our home," Eleanor cried. "Actually, I could take all of it," Monica corrected her. "The entire house is legally mine and has been for 15 years. I'm simply taking what I paid for directly. For now." Tara stood up, facing her parents with uncharacteristic seriousness. "How could you do this? How could you lie to both of us?" Richard's defensive posture faltered slightly. "We did what we thought was best for everyone." "Best for everyone?" Monica echoed. "Or best for you. You've been living in my house, allowing me to pay for its upkeep, all while planning to give it to Tara behind my back." "We raised you in this house," Eleanor countered, tears forming in her eyes. "We gave you everything." "And I've repaid that 1,000 times over," Monica said. "But that doesn't give you the right to steal my inheritance." Tara moved to stand beside Monica, a physical gesture of solidarity that surprised everyone in the room. "Mom, Dad, what you did was wrong. You used both of us as pawns in some game I don't even understand." Richard sank into a chair, suddenly looking much older than his 62 years. "We never meant for things to go this far. When your grandfather died, we were in financial trouble. The will specified the house would go to Monica when she turned 25, but we delayed filing the proper paperwork." "Delayed?" Monica's voice was sharp. "You hid it completely. Then you let me spend my savings rescuing a house that was already mine." "We were going to tell you," Eleanor insisted weakly. "When? After you gave it to Tara? After I spent my last dollar maintaining it?" The room fell silent, the weight of years of deception hanging heavy in the air. Finally, Monica spoke again, her voice calm but resolute. "I've spoken with a real estate agent. The house will be listed for sale next week. Given the improvements I've made and the current market, it should sell quickly." "You're selling our home?" Eleanor gasped. "My home," Monica corrected. "A home I no longer wish to own, given the memories it now holds." "Where are we supposed to go?" Richard demanded. "That's not my problem anymore," Monica said, the words feeling like a release. "You have 1 week to find alternative accommodation. I've already arranged for a locksmith to change the locks tomorrow." Tara looked between her sister and her parents, conflict evident on her face. "I'll help you find a place," she finally said to her parents. "But I want you to know that what you did was wrong, and I won't be part of any more deception." Monica felt a surge of respect for her sister. Perhaps Tara had more backbone than she'd given her credit for. "I'm leaving now," Monica announced, picking up her purse. "Kristen is handling all legal matters moving forward. Any communication can go through her." As she walked toward the door, Eleanor called after her, "Monica, please. We're still your family." Monica paused, her hand on the doorknob. "Family doesn't do what you did to me. Family protects each other, supports each other, tells the truth to each other." She turned to face them one last time. "You stopped being my family the moment you decided your convenience was more important than my inheritance." With those words, she stepped outside into the fading afternoon light. feeling both the weight of what she had lost and the freedom of what she had reclaimed. 3 months later, Monica stood in the center of her new apartment, surrounded by boxes yet to be unpacked. Winter had settled over Burlington, coating the city in a pristine blanket of snow that sparkled in the morning sunlight. The house on Maple Avenue had sold within 2 weeks of being listed, fetching a price that exceeded even the real estate agent's optimistic projections. After settling the remaining mortgage and paying herself back the $80,000 she had invested, Monica had a substantial sum left over, enough for a down payment on this spacious 2-bedroom apartment and a healthy start to her new investment portfolio. Her phone chimed with a text message from Kristen. "Court officially closed the case today. House transfer complete, all funds distributed. You are officially free. Dinner to celebrate tonight?" Monica smiled and typed back a quick affirmative response. Free. The word resonated deeply. Free from obligation, free from exploitation, free from the weight of unbalanced familial expectations. Her relationship with her parents remained strained. They had found a small rental property on the outskirts of town, their pride wounded, but their circumstances manageable. They had reached out several times, their messages oscillating between apologies and subtle attempts to make her feel guilty for her actions. Monica had responded politely but distantly, establishing firm boundaries that she was no longer willing to compromise. Her relationship with Tara, surprisingly, had improved. Once the initial shock had worn off, Tara had acknowledged that their parents had manipulated them both. She had returned to California but stayed in regular contact with Monica, their conversations gradually rebuilding the sisterly bond that had frayed over the years. A knock at the door interrupted Monica's reflections. She opened it to find Tara standing there, a small suitcase at her feet and a hesitant smile on her face. "Surprise visit," Tara said. "I hope that's okay. I have an audition in New York next week and thought I'd stop by on my way." Monica stepped aside to let her sister in. "Of course it's okay. I'm still unpacking, but the guest room is ready." Tara entered, taking in the bright, airy space with appreciation. "This place suits you. It's elegant but practical, just like you." "Thanks," Monica said, feeling a warmth that had been absent from their interactions for too long. "It's smaller than the house, but it's mine. Really mine this time." They settled in the living room, where Monica had arranged her favorite furniture from the old house, pieces that now carried no bitterness in their memories. "Have you heard from Mom and Dad lately?" Tara asked cautiously. Monica nodded. "They sent an email last week, another apology that somehow managed to include the phrase, 'But we only wanted what was best for the family.'" Tara sighed. "They still don't fully get it, do they?" "I don't think they ever will." "But that's not my responsibility anymore." Monica leaned back in her chair, feeling the truth of her words. "I spent so many years trying to earn their approval, trying to be the perfect daughter. I never realized I was enough just as I am. For what it's worth," Tara said softly, "I always thought you were amazing. I was jealous of you. Your confidence, your success, the way you always seemed to know exactly what you wanted." Monica looked at her sister in surprise. "Really? I was jealous of you. Your freedom, your courage to pursue your dreams, the way Mom and Dad seemed to adore you no matter what." They both laughed at the irony, the sound filling the new apartment with a warmth that felt like healing. Later that evening, as they walked to meet Kristen for dinner, snow began to fall again, adding fresh powder to the existing accumulation. Monica tilted her face upward, feeling the gentle touch of snowflakes on her skin. "Are you okay?" Tara asked, noticing her sister's contemplative expression. Monica smiled, genuine and unforced. "Yes," she said simply. "For the first time in a very long time, I truly am." As they continued their walk through the snow-covered streets, Monica reflected on the journey of the past few months. She had lost a house but gained self-respect. She had lost the illusion of familial harmony, but gained authentic relationships. She had lost the weight of obligation, but gained the freedom to define her own worth. Some inheritances, she realized, were far more valuable than property. If you enjoyed this emotional journey, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support means everything. Leave a like if Monica's story resonated with you, and share your thoughts in the comments below. More powerful stories are coming your way soon.